Stephen A. Smith is arguably the most obnoxious person in American sports. While some hosts would try to moderate their remarks and consider what others might think, when it comes to Smith, he is renowned for aiming at professional athletes and being brutally honest in his assessments. Smith may be the subject of conflicting viewpoints among sports fans, but his supporters value his love for the game and his thorough knowledge of the development of professional basketball, and that's why ESPN shells out millions to keep him. So, what is the net worth of Stephen A. Smith? And how come this sports analyst is earning more than normal players? This is the inspiring story of one of the greatest sports analysts, from where he started to where he is now, earning $8 million annually. He was born in the Bronx, New York, and when he was a kid, his father was a well-known baseball and basketball star who owned and operated a hardware business. He was the second youngest of 7 children, and even though his father may have owned his own business and a prior sporting career, there wasn't much money to cover all the family expenses. Luckily, Smith was fortunate to possess a natural talent for basketball and was able to secure a scholarship that allowed him to enroll at Winston-Salem State University. This was the time that Clarence Gaines, a renowned coach, provided Smith with the opportunity to train while he was a player for Winston-Salem State University. The future sports broadcaster was able to learn some interesting and valuable things about the various basketball strategies while under Gaines' watchful eye. Gaines taught Smith a lot about basketball strategy, and he was never reluctant to express his opinions. Clarence Gaines' possible retirement was one of the final subjects Smith wrote about for his school's newspaper during his senior year, citing the coach's deteriorating health as justification. And as we all know, Stephen A. Smith is renowned today for being open and honest with fans about his opinions of players and coaches in the NBA. However, let's be honest, not everyone may agree with what Smith has to say, but his blunt comments have been making news frequently. But he originally started working as a sports writer before being a professional analyst. At the same time, he was a student at Winston-Salem State University, which provided him with the ideal training to advance his profession. After earning his university degree in 1991, he was grabbed as a writer by Smith's hometown newspaper, the Winston-Salem Journal, where he worked as a clerk in the sports section. He later on worked in an entry-level position for the Greensboro News and Record, as well as the New York Daily News. But what made him known to the public was his employment at the Philadelphia Inquirer, where his main responsibility was to write about the Philadelphia 76ers. This was the position that launched him into the public spotlight. His career expanded to cover many professional sports-related issues as his writings gained more readers. While working at the Philadelphia Inquirer, he received 2 promotions, finally becoming the general sports columnist. However, the Philadelphia Inquirer had to fire Smith in 2008 due to a worrying fall in relationships. Surprisingly, Smith sued the newspaper company, claiming that his dismissal was unfair and violated the CBA between the media company and the Philadelphia Newspaper Guild. He demanded that the Philadelphia Inquirer pay him $100,000 and publish and promote Stephen A. Smith's writings as payback for the harm the publication caused to his career. His attorney went on and demanded that their client return to his post within 15 days, be given the freedom to express his viewpoint, and guarantee that he would be able to write on the themes he wanted to. Interestingly, in 2003, Stephen A. Smith started working for ESPN, where he was an analyst on NBA Shoot-Around, which was renamed NBA Countdown. 2 years after, he switched from being a writer to a talk show presenter. His first radio program debuted on WEPN radio in New York City in 2005. It was subsequently split into 2 halves, with the second half airing on ESPN radio. And after only 2 years, Smith had his own program. This hour-long chat show featured player interviews, analysis of problems that arise in professional sports, and general sports news. Following his success on First Take, Smith could be seen on various ESPN programs, including Pardon the Interpretation, Dream Job, Jim Rome is Burning, and Sports Center. He didn't stop there, as he started contributing to Fox Sport Radio, where he was hired as the lead anchor of the morning show. Smith gained popularity rapidly, and the main sports media outlets began to compete for his services. In 2013, Smith opted to quit ESPN to work as a presenter for Chris Russo's Mad Dog Sports channel channel on Sirius XM after receiving a better offer. However, in 2014, he received a higher offer from ESPN. The sports media business promised to offer Smith a $2 million yearly boost. But let's say Smith didn't care, as he left to present for Mad Dog shortly after. However, in 2017, ESPN prevailed against Mad Dog to win Smith back. And by January, his daily talk program was later added to the nationwide ESPN radio network and made accessible throughout the nation. The conversation program was later included in the schedule of ESPN radio simulcast on ESPN News. And in 2019, the Philadelphia 76ers Fieldhouse hosted a concert with First Take and Stephen A. Smith as part of Historically Black College and University Week. Smith took the opportunity and served as the event's ambassador since he graduated from Winston-Salem State University, a historically black institution. In January 2020, the daily discussion program finally came to an end. But did you know that Smith was making $1 million a year for the Stephen A. Smith Show when he was a radio host for ESPN? Smith's contract with ESPN featured a provision for him to end his show right away. They wanted to offer Smith more time on SportsCenter while also making sure he had time left over for other endeavors. He agreed to a new deal in the same year that paid him between $8 million and $10 million. And no wonder he is now among the highest paid figures in the history of sports media organizations. In January 2021, he started his own program, Stephen A's World, on ESPN's streaming service. This is where he discusses sports stories that didn't make the headlines or offer his own perspective on hot-button issues. Let's all agree that he has made a number of contentious remarks that go beyond his views on abuse. However, his remarks regarding other professional athletes have occasionally gotten him into trouble with ESPN and the general public. But does he care? In 2017, he spoke as a special guest at the Black Enterprise Black Men's Excel Summit. This was the time that he confessed that he was upset by Kaepernick's choice to publicly declare that he would not be casting a ballot in the 2016 presidential election. According to him, voting and putting money towards the improvements you want to see in the world are the only two methods to alter the country. And so he dismisses the remarks made by Kaepernick, who decided to skip the polls. According to Smith, this was a foolish step. Kaepernick's decision to abstain from voting, in the opinion of the sports pundit, was insulting to him, his ancestors, and America's history. In 2021, he insulted the Los Angeles Angels' brand new great player, Shohei Ohtani. He got annoyed because the top player for the Los Angeles Angels needed a translator so that spectators could understand. Ohtani is Japanese, and according to Smith, a player is required to speak English to compete in the American Professional League. However, Smith quickly realized his mistake, and within a day, he posted videos of himself apologizing and even writing a second apology for his remarks. Since then, the First Take production team has received a lot of criticism online for exploiting this to promote the show. And when you take a look at his online presence, he seems to be quite active on social media because of his large Twitter and Instagram followers. He has over 5.6 million Twitter followers and 3.7 million Instagram followers. He criticizes the players, and as a result, he has just as many detractors. So, where is he now, and what is he doing? Unfortunately, he underwent shoulder surgery and is presently healing, but he will return. But we can all agree Smith is a divisive figure who is notorious for voicing his strong thoughts loudly and on any issue related to sports. There is no doubt that he puts in a lot of effort, although some would claim that ESPN overexposes him. But if ESPN is suddenly paying Smith that much, you may as well get what you paid for. Anyway, what do you think of Smith's criticism in sport? And do you rank him as the best analyst in the world? That's all for this video. See you in the next one.